I see the truancy laws are a big issue with students that are avoiding and shirking school and so on. And it seems to be epidemic. And courts and the police could arrest folks, and courts recommend this and that, and so on. But I recall my truancy times. I must have done truancy maybe about 3 times, and it could have been I woke up late, and it was already late. You get licked, so you go to school late and so on, and had nothing to eat, and the whole 9 yards. So I think it's just twice, because I never really hung around anywhere. I know twice I did things. Once I went to the cinema, saw Thin Red Line, and the other time I went into the park, the Botanical Gardens in Georgetown. And the guy who spearheaded this, we were going late and walking along, and he came on and said, "Hey man, let's go and skulk." We call it skulk as opposed to truancy. And you hide in the park, see somebody come, you go wrong, so you gotta find the time, and then say, "Okay, this time now, let's go home." And it was such a big lie to go home, and then you got to tell teachers, some lie again. I didn't want to go through that. But the guy who was leading out in the skulking, his father owned a horse and buggy, and he did transporting goods from the wharf to various places, and he was in line to take over the business, so he had no interest in school, and maybe he was dumb also, I don't know. But I found school fascinating and wonderful. Unlike many folks, I did well in first years in school. I got first in school and so on, but my poverty catch up with me real quick, and I started to drop off. But go buy the books, go buy the clothes, go do what necessary and so on. Okay, but here in America, where you got welfare, and you have food banks, and you have thrift stores and free clothes everywhere, there's no reason for truancy except for some of these reasons I'm going to talk about here. And so I would suggest right out the bat that anybody who likes to be truant in the truancy problem, the police arresting them to go in court, the court sentencing them to go to school and get a high school diploma. They should send them to pick corn, tomatoes, oranges, and to work on the farm, because we have to bring in foreigners to do it. These folks should go to do it because they're indicating that they're not interested in academics, and I'm not sure what else they could do. You flip burgers without require some education anyway, computers and at least, and to be able to come and so on and get along with people. But why would somebody want to be a truant with all these opportunities? You go to school, you might end up in Hollywood or be the president, but you could get a job down the road and be able to function and so on. So first of all, I think that maybe these are babies that the moms were intemperate and very destructive in the behaviors, partying all night, don't rest, don't go for prenatal care, smoking, drinking, doing drugs and so on. And they are born with some serious syndromes, alcohol syndrome, cocaine rejection, heroin and so on. So they're compromised, and then the parents are going to treat them as fragile. So they aren't robust, either actual or perceived, and they have problems in school. Then also those who start off with those educational programs, Sesame Street and others, they do well at home, and parents could boast, my son's going to Harvard here and there, he's good, to count and know the tables and everything, recognize a lot of words. But that type of environment that Sesame Street provides is not the real world. You can't find it duplicated in a classroom. In fact, you can find some weirdo teacher or some pervert or some professional teacher there is going to be far away from that sort of environment that Sesame Street and Scooby-Doo and these other shows provide. The entertainment level is not in the classroom, and so the real world, you have to learn some things, you got to stick with it, you got to, not this repetition thing, just get it today, we got to go to some other things, you got to work into your own, you know what I mean? It's like that, and they lost interest after a couple of years, and school becomes a burden because maybe they don't have it, or probably that early acculturation or conditioning to that kind of thing has precluded their ability to really invest and to progress and to do wonderful in school. And there might be other reasons too, but I think that truancy is a sign that something ain't right. And my pet peeve here, they might be involved in, evil, and that's going to be a problem because God says, the beginning of wisdom and knowledge and understanding is the fear of the Lord. The fear of the Lord is the beginning of wisdom, knowledge, and understanding. And if they were offered up to Halloween and they pursued other forms of evil, then that's another reason why they won't be able to progress in school. I know a psychic son and he is going well in school. Somebody might say, well, different people have different roles. He might go to school and finish it to end up being a teacher and a pervert, end up, molesting a bunch of students, or to get into an important job and be a spy, to be unpatriotic, something like that. I mean, they have different roles. In Canada, this lady said, my son is a Satanist. He's the best you'd like to ever find. He's so nice. Well, his role is not to be ugly and to doing evil out there, shooting up the place and robbing people and raping women and doing crazy stuff. His job is to introduce people to the voodoo. Oh, he's such a nice man. He's an evil boy. You don't have to be evil in being evil. You see what I'm saying? And then when you get it, you get your fear whether you're going to end up on drugs, you end up, killing yourself, killing your spouse, molesting your kids, whatever. So these are some reasons why I think students would be kind of like shirking from school, because I find school very fun. I mean, I wish I could have gone to school every day, even right now. I mean, since '02 I haven't done a lot of education, and I mean, the government has prevented me from being able to work and get a good job and other things like that, so I can't afford it. But school is fun, and I think that as soon as my finances improve, I'm back in school again. I like the fun, man. I like learning this and that. I mean, if there are just a few other things I could have done, it's like physics, because I never did that, welding, electronics. I think I've done almost the rest of everything, so I like to do those courses. And school is fun. It's fascinating. I never cried through going to school. I recall in all my going to new schools, I did my own registration. I recall I went to school, and the second school I went to, the first one I went to, I stayed for one day. I wasn't old enough, and I had to go home. Then I went to a school that opened in my area, and I went over there. I think I walked with my sisters, and then I went to children of my age and went and find out where I had to go and so on. And then they say, okay, we need your date of birth. Hey, mom sent us that. So mom wrote my date of birth on a paper, and I kept reading it as I go along. And when I could memorize it, I threw away the paper. So when I reached school, I told them what was my date of birth and so on. And they say, sure. I don't know how they verified it, but that was it. Then the first school I went to, that was a primary kind of kindergarten. My mom dropped me off, and it was early, so she's waiting. I said, you can go back, it's okay, I'm alright. So she had made arrangements prior, of course, but she was waiting for school to open and teachers to come, so she let me in and whatever. I tell her, you could go ahead, I'm good. And while I was waiting there, this guy come with his mom, and he's crying, he wants to go home back with his mom. I said, man, come on, man, it's going to be fun here, just don't worry about it, everything will be good. Then another school I went to when I was maybe about 9. I walked with my sister to this school, and for some reason again I was not accepted at first. They had to go back the next day, and I told my sister, I'm gonna walk home, I know where. She said, sure, you know where you're going? Tell me where you're going. So when you go straight here, there's a bunch of sand here. I'll turn there, and then I'll go straight, and I'll meet the cemetery, and I'll go through the middle of it. And when I reach that street, I'll go straight and get home, and then go around that way. She said, okay. And she was kind of like not sure, but when she saw me, she gave a breath of relief, sigh of relief. That's the last school I attended again, and then I went on my own to I worked and earned some money, saved it up, went to college, had to start back up in 10th grade, and on and on. So I love school, so I don't see why folks would want to shirk from school. There got to be some serious problem, and I don't think the courts and the police could solve those problems.